Hi, we're the Simple Teachers. Welcome to our channel. Today we're here in Whitney's classroom. We're excited to see some of her tips and tricks. Today we're going to look at her focus wall and see how to organize all of the things that you're going to use for teaching.
Well, I have to say that this focus wall wasn't just my ideas. It came with really good teammates and just seeing other people's focus walls as well. So this is what I've come up with over the last couple of years. So I have a reading focus, a writing focus, then I plop in either science, and I think it's actually hidden behind. We flip-flop from science to social studies here in my second grade classroom. And so I just have that easily accessible. And then over there, I have a math wall as well. And I actually share my classroom, and so the awesome lady I work with, she teaches math, and so she has her math wall on that side. So I'll just walk you through my focus wall or board. So for reading, we have a comprehension strategy. Now, I don't put anything up here that I don't reference or use. Whenever I introduce our strategy instruction for the week, typically on Mondays is when we learn what the strategy will be focusing for the week, I will reference to this. And then throughout the week, it's remember, we're summarizing with somebody wanted but so for this week. For spelling, when I introduce spelling words, which I introduce spelling words on Friday for the next week prior, so then I have phonics lessons through the week. On Fridays, we do a spelling test, and then I go ahead and get right into introducing the new sound spellings for the upcoming week. And then I repeat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, phonics lessons, and then Friday, the spelling test and introducing new sound spellings. Vocabulary, these vocabulary words go with our content or theme for our unit. And so these might not be ones that are necessarily directly in the text we will be reading that day. However, we do see them throughout our core reading program's text throughout the unit. So these are my vocabulary words that hit our content. And then for comprehension lessons, we may have other vocabulary words that we introduce, but this keeps us to our theme. Here's the science again. So this is our theme for the unit we're on right now, is how do living things depend on each other. So we're learning about relationships. For writing, my co-teacher teaches writing in my classroom, so she keeps all of her writing focus up here. So right now you can tell their prompt, do plants eat dirt? So that's what they're writing about right now. Fluency, this is nice because I can just take off my objective right here. I also have this sometimes for my comprehension board, and I can just pop it off, but this week I didn't have one, so it's flexible. I don't have a big poster that is just stuck up there for the entire unit or week. I'm just flexible and I move things around, so this can then go with me in small group setting if needed, or oftentimes I'll put it on my main board to write with. And this is kind of, I change out through the year, but right now it has been reminders of how to read big words because we're getting into more multisyllabic word lessons. And so I just put our quick reminders, and then I always have some type of rating scale on my board. So any lesson we're doing, I can teach the students to be cognitive about their thinking, teach that metacognition. And so 4, 3, 2, 1 is the scale I use. So I'll often tell my students, were you always doing blank? Were you always reading with expression? Mostly, sometimes, or rarely. And throughout almost every lesson, I'm always having my students rate themselves. And I give them feedback as well. It's a great way for us to communicate for feedback and reflection. And then these posters are just for easy access for my multisyllabic word lessons. What I'll typically do is take these off and slap them on my big board, and then I write a word in between. Because my second graders, they're still being exposed and learning. They need reminders of prefixes and suffixes. So I'll often write the word in the middle, and then we'll do our multisyllabic word blending. So I like my board to be living, I guess is a good way we could say. It's a living board. I don't just plop things up for looks, I plop things up because we're using them. Angie, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that that's wonderful. I love that everything that you're using is what you're teaching, and that the students know to actually reference this as something for them
Yeah.
to use also.
Yeah.
And I also love that it's actually compact. I know it's a lot to look at, but with you pointing and referencing the board for your students, it helps them kind of dissect it even.
Yes.
So even though it's busy, they know where to look, they know what each section is for, so they're not overly confused with all of the information there.
Absolutely. And at the beginning of the year, like that first couple weeks of school, it's empty. And so when we get into teaching, then I'm like, okay guys, this section of the board through the whole year is going to be what we're learning in Fluency. And so it's consistent, it's predictable for the students, and so that busyness, it's always busy, but it stays the same.
Yeah.
So they know what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the most important thing is that it's meaningful for the students and they are able to use the information for their support of the learning.
Exactly. They should know what they're learning about, and this helps keep it in that focus.
Yep. So great tips on organizing your meaningful focus board. Thanks for letting us into your classroom.
Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Simply teach.